nagkagulatan ho kami. To make a long story short, we have some stories. Kasi yung mga kaibigan masyado. Ang tawagan po nila, love groups. Yung silang dalawa. Sabi ko niya, ito, pakinggan ko ninyo. 9 years of marriage. Sabi niya, tama talaga yung preaching, yung sinasabi mo. Kasi alam mo, yung lahat ng kwento ni Brother Sam, yung husband ko po is a pastor's son. Na-share ko na po siguro several times, si Papa ho, father po nila, he's now with the Lord, is what Brother Butch would always say as the Billy Graham of the Visayas and Mindanao. Okay? So, si Papa po, just to give you a background, siya po yung tipong paggawain ng Panginoon, huwag mong lalawin. Hindi yung tipong pagka sa school, on time ka, takot kang mali. So, opisina, on time ka, takot kang mali. Sa date, on time ka, takot kang mali. Pero sa church, okay lang mali. So, ganun nung si Papa. Hindi mo pwede yun. So, si Papa mo, kung sinabi niya, dahil na! Pag ginulong niya na ho, yung lahat ng mga anak, di ba po sila, isa kay agad. Pag babagal-bagal ka, iiwanan ka talaga. Alam mo sinasabi ko ni Papa, mga anak, ang nagpapakain sa atin ang Diyos. So kapag hindi tayo naglingkod sa Kanya, wala kayong pagkain. Ang pinaglilingkod natin ng Panginoon. Ganun po si Papa. He is a pastor. He's actually an evangelist. At siya po yung, malinis pa lang po sila, talaga hong by faith ko ang kanilang buhay. Ang kanilang hong tinirahan, siguro ho karamihan, hotel out. Kasi ho, lahat ng tao tumira. So, pag ipinarenta, mura-mura. Di ba? So, sila ho, itira mo doon. Unang gabi ho nila, okay naman. Siyempre, mga mananampalataya. Hindi naman tayo takot nila niya, di ba? Oh! Parang tulala kayo, parang takot kayo So, ang gagawin ng mga kapitbahay, first day, following morning, they would ask, tatanungin, kumusta po? Nakatulog po ba kayo kagabi? Abay, oo, nakatulog naman. Wala po ba kayong naramdaman? Abay, wala naman. Actually, ganun po nag-start yung Bread of Life to go. Yun ho si Papa ang pioneer before pinataho talaga sa bread. At ang unang congregation niya, doon po sa church, si Papa mo ang pastor. Si Mama po ang intercessor. Si Ate po nila yung worship leader. Si Sam po, pangalawa sa panganay, siya yung musician. Yung tatlo, ang congregation. Diba, kompleto? Sila hong tatlo ay nakikinig kay Papa. Doon po sa harapan ng bahay, sa ilalim ng puno. Balik, ba yun? O nung puno, akasya man yun? Kung ano? Wala ka mga kami ba? Sinanonood mo sila. At ang unang umilang siyembro, yung barbero ni Papa, ginugupitan. Siguro habang ginugupitan, hindi evangelist nga. To make a long story short, that started the church. Yun ho sila by faith. And si Papa ho kasi, basagulero, lahat ng ero, when he was in Mindanao. There was one time in his life, siya po ay may nililigawan. May naging karibal. Ang karibal po ay sundalo. May gang po si Papa. Hindi pa siya Krisya. Ang ginawa ng gang niya sa Mindanao, binugbog yung sundalo. Sundalo nga Pagbalik ko, ano tawag doon? Rest back. Pagbalik ko ng sundalo, may 6 by 6. Kasama naman ng sundalo. Sila hong gang, na mayayabang na matatapang, nagtakbuhan, nagtago. Si Papa ho, naalala niya, yung kapatid niya, nandun sa isang Bible school. Ano? Pagdating ko sa Bible school, sabi niya, yung dito ako magtatakot, hindi nila ako masusundan. Pagdating ko sa Bible school, may nakita po isang blackboard. Sa blackboard po, nakasulat mga pangalan. Ang una ko sa listahan ng pangalan po ni Papa. Pani Bagalan. Sabi niya, ate, alam mo mga pangalan ko, number 1 pa yung pangalan ko. Alam mo, Dudo. Bisaya, Manila. Alam mo yan yung listahan ng mga pangalan na matagal na namin pinag-pray. At unang-unang ka. So wala akong choice. He entered the Bible school, he finished the Bible school. Eventually, by God's grace, he became a Christian and he became a pastor. Yan po si Papa. And Sam and Tito would always talk about the families. Yun po sila. So sabi ko niya, balik po ako ng Pampanga, no? Sabi ko ni Tito, naalala ko yung mga kwento ni Brother Sam. Sabi niya, hindi ko malilimutan yung mga panahon na yun. Sinasabi ko nga sa mga anak ko. Ang anak ko po, teenager na babae. Tandaan mo na, Amerika po yung context. Tignan mo natin. Sabi niya, tandaan mo, yung pinanggalingan natin, Pilipinas. Amerika, bawal ang palo eh. Diba? The kids are taught to call 911, to dial 911 if ever the parents would spank or discipline with a tool or something. Yung kanilang anak, yun po yung Amerikano. Yun po ang American konteksto. Kasi po, bawal ang palo. Okay? I have two sisters who are both American citizens. My mother is now in America. She is also an American citizen. Kami po ay 8 magkakapatid. Yung pong 5 na nandito po sa Pilipinas, ay isa po nasa ibang bansa din, ay may mga nakapetition para maging papunta ng Amerika. Ako lang po ang hindi. Sa aming 8, ako po ang pangalan. Because I do not want. Sabi ko ng mami ko, na, di ba ayaw mo naman eh. So, hindi ka na namin i-repetition. Lahat po sila ng competition. Ako lang po ang hindi. Ang panawagan ko po ay sa Pilipinas. I'm not saying it's wrong to be an American. If the Lord calls you to be an American citizen, be an American. But if not, be a Filipino. Filipino po ako. Ang panawagan ko po ay dito, salamat sa Panginoon. Biyaya niyo po yung makaunawa ng lahing kayo manggi. So ito po siya. Babalik at babalik ka rin sa nayon mo, sa bansa mo. Nung kausap ko po sa TV, sabi ko, ito na mga problema. Iba ho sa Amerika. Maraming ako pamangkin eh. Mga Amerikano po sila eh. Amerikana. Iba po ang kanilang buhay. Ordinaryo lang yung sex. Walang kwenta ho yan. Balik-balik ang boyfriend. Ngayon lang nagkakilala. Ganun na ho ang Amerika. One of my sisters in America is a Christian. The other one is not. Recently po, like 2 weeks ago, nagkausap po kami ng mami ko. At sabi ho niya, nalaman po namin she was diagnosed. She has a lung cancer. She's 68 years old. And kausap ko po, my mother is a Christian, by the way. Kausap ko po siya, at sabi ko niya, nung una ko, bago ko po siya nakausap, I was really praying, sabi ko, Lord, paano ko ba kakausapin yung mami ko na may lung cancer? Paano kaya? Pagtawag ko, nag-reply mo talaga ako. Sabi ko, Ma, sabi niya, anak, sabi ko, kumusta na po? Ayoko yung malungkot eh. Kumusta na po? Eto nga, hihihihihi. Nanulat ko ako, bakit masaya kayo? Oo nga, sabi nila, may lung cancer na daw, pero mag-December mabitin pa ako, etc. etc. Sabi niya, pakinggan niyo ho. Sabi niya, alam mo naman anak, ang tagal ko nang pinag-reply, gusto kong mag-mission. Pinagkatrabaho ko dito, di ba? Siguro kaya niloob ng Lord yung sakit ko. Kasi sabi, hindi na ako pwede magtrabaho. Ngayon, pwede na ako mag-mission. Grabe yun, no? Pangalawa, yung 2 kong kapatid, isa po ay nasa San Antonio, Texas. The other one, her husband is an FBI agent, so she goes to different places from ewan ko saan ba sila napunta, New Jersey to New York, Virginia, hindi ko na po alam kung saan siya ngayon. Anyway, yung 2 kong yun, magkaaway. Sabi mo ng mami ko, anak, yan, siguro niloob na rin ng Lord kung ng cancer. Bakit po? Kasi, alam mo ba, yung 2 kapatid mo, nung nalaman ng isa na may ganito nga sakit, ngayon, nag-usap na sila. After a long time of not communicating, not talking, nag-usap. Kaya ano, babalik at babalik ka rin. Kasi nga ang bibigay from God to Galing ka sa lupa eh, sa alabok. Saan ka babalik? Sa alabok. Wala ka namang dala nung pinanganak ka. Pag alis mo sa lupa na to, ano dala mo? Wala rin eh. Kung wala kang Panginoon sa buhay mo, lalong wala kang dala. Let's thank God, tayo po ay may biyaya ng Panginoon. Nakaabot ko ng Panginoon yun. Now, let's talk about this. Nawala. Alam. Ayan. Ito po natin. May isa pong libro, ang pamagat niya po ay It Takes a Village. This was written by Hillary Rodham Clinton, tawag po ng dating presidente ng Amerika. Ang pamagat po ng kanyang libro ay It Takes a Village. I'll be going through some paragraphs po from the book. At ito po yung kanyang sinabi. Pakinggan po ninyo. Sabi niya, we are living in an interdependent world where what our children hear, see, feel, and learn will affect how they grow up and who they turn out to be. Okay? Interdependent daw po yung ating mundo. Kinabibilangan. Kung saan yung naririnig, nakikita, nararamdaman, natutunan ng ating mga anak, may epekto po kung paano mo silang lumaki. How children are raised anywhere can impact our lives and our children's futures. Sabi po ni Hillary Clinton, the core of this book is my own experience as a mother and my conviction that, sabi ko niya, parents are the most important influences on the lives of their children. Ganda po ng kwento ng buhay pala niya. At tinita niyo po si Hillary Clinton, sanaan po siya babae, diba? Baka nga daw po, sabi lang, yung susunod po na itatakbo ng Democrat Party sa pagka-presidente ay si Hillary Clinton. Well, nobody knows. Kaya po siya panalo, pakinggan po ninyo. Meron po siyang isinulat, yung kanyang libro na Living History, autobiography niya. Sabi niya, I wrote about my own, ito yung kanyang dahilan, bakit panalo po si Hillary Clinton. I wrote about my own mother's difficult childhood. Ang dumaan lang sa hirap, yung nanay po niya. Abandoned by her teenage parents, mistreated by her grandparents. Grabe, no? Yung teenagers ng mga magulang niya, inabandona yung nanay ni Hillary Clinton. Tapos yung mga lolo at lola, minaltrato po yung nanay niya. She was forced to go to work as a mother's helper when she was 30 years old. Naging yaya. 13 anyos yung nanay niya. Caring for another family's younger children while attending high school, sabi niya, may sound harsh because this is America, but sabi niya, the experience of living in a strong, loving family gave my mother the tools she would need later when caring for her own home and children. Buti na lang po yung amo ho nung kanyang tatay, maayos ng pamilya. Pinanood yung mag-asawa, yung mga amo, ganun yung tamang pagpapalaki sa mga anak. Learning about my mother's childhood sparked my strong conviction, sabi niya, that every child deserves a chance to live up to her God-given potential, and we should never quit on any child. Sa isang bahagi po ng kanyang sinulat, sabi ho ni Hillary Clinton, ang problema, hindi lahat ng magulang panalo, di ba? Minsan, okay yung nanay. Ang problema yung tatay. Di ba? Minsan, okay po yung tatay. Ang problema yung tatay bruha. Di ba? Sino ang problema eh? Minsan, parehong panalo. Okay po yun. Minsan, parehong po talo. Now, if we have people in the church na ganun po yung contextual family background, what would we do? It takes a village to raise a child. Tayo po, pwedeng maging village ng mga bata. Sabi ko niya, pakinggan ko ninyo, we all depend on other adults whom we know, from teachers, to doctors, to neighbors, to pastors, mga kilala po natin. And also whom we may not, mga hindi natin kilala, from police, to firefighters, to employers, to media producers, to political leaders. What? To help us inform, support, or protect our children. Sabi uli ni Rick Benson, in the last 10 years, science has proven how resilient children can be despite great obstacles. Kaya ng mga bata yan. Sabi niya. And that's where other adults may step in to help nurture children and to provide positive role models. We can be engaged to the young people. Hindi man maayos na magulang. Tayo po ng mga tito, tita, ate, kuya, dito po sa church. And that is the story of one of our singers. Nandito po si Shoti, tawag namin Shoti, si Francis. I'll be asking him to sing later on. That's the story actually. Tuloy ko lamang po. Sabi ko niya, one of the families in the village most important task is to help children develop those habits of self-discipline and empathy that constitute what we call character. They enable us to be resilient in the face of the problems we encounter in life and to grow bigger, not bitter in spirit. Meron po isang Romanian word for children. Ito po yung copy, which sounds a lot like copy when it is pronounced. Why? Because a child is a carbon copy of a parent. Pareho siya ng tatay niya. Pareho siya ng nanay niya. Kaya pala yung word copy. Sabi nga ho, life itself is a curriculum under history, literature, curriculum, and especially religious teaching. Lahat ng bahagi ng buhay, curriculum yan. Aralin po yan sa buhay. Now let's talk about David. As we have read the passage of Scripture, I'll be going from 1 Samuel 16, 1 Samuel 17. Konting background lamang po. Andiyan pa po ba kayo? Hindi niyo pa ako tinutulugan na. Okay, okay. Dito lang yung malakas ng email. Okay. A little background on the life of David. Tingnan po natin. Sabi po, more space in the Bible is devoted to David than any other person, even Jesus. Grabe no? Pag binito niyo pala yung buong Biblia, mas marami po yung kwento tungkol kay David kaysa sa Panginoon Jesus. Ganun po siya kahalaga. His life is covered in 4 books, 66 Old Testament chapters, and 59 New Testament references to his life. His writings, mga sinulat po niya, occupy at least 73 chapters of the Bible, possibly writing 2/3 of the book of Psalms. 150 books, 150, Psalms po yan. 2/3 po nun sinulat ni David. He is called the greatest singer and the greatest saint in the Old Testament. Early history of David. David was born in Bethlehem, maliit po na bayan, in 1085 BC, and he died in Jerusalem in 1015 BC at the age of 70. He became king at the age of 30. 30 anyos pa lang, hari na po siya, accomplished na. First, over the tribe of Judah alone, and 7.5 years later, over all of Israel. Grabe ano? Kasi yung buong bansa, doon lang po muna siya sa Judah, hari. After 7.5 years, buong bansang Israel. Spanning a total of 40 years. He spent his youth in Bethlehem. Ano po trabaho niya? He was tending the flock of his father Jesse. He was a shepherd. Pastor po siya. The name David, or rather David, is derived from the Hebrew word Daud, meaning loving. So from David, it means loving. The word Daudi, more frequently rendered uncle, can also mean chieftain. Yan yung David. Okay? So in summary, when you look at David, David was a shepherd, a hunter, a warrior, he was a general, he was a king, he was a poet, he was an actor, he was a champion, he was also an outlaw, he was a ladies' man, ladies' chick boy, chicken at boy, chick boy siya. He was a musician, he was also a prophet, and a worship leader. Kaya lang, he was also an adulterer and a murderer. He was a brother, he was a husband, he was a son, he was a parent. Palpak nga ho siyang tatay, di ba? May nagsabi po sa kanyang anak. He was a leader. He was also a hero. He was a builder, administrator. He was an ancestor of Jesus Christ. And what we all know as a man after God's own heart. The greatest sinner and the greatest saint. Yes po si David. Taong-tao po siya. Bigyan ko po kayo mabilis lang. 3 puntos. As we look at this, David was a villager. He was a fighter or a warrior. But he is also a worshiper. Let's go to point 1, the villager. Babasahin ko po 1 Samuel 17:12 to 15. Now David was the son of an Ephraimite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had how many sons? 8 sons. And Saul's time, he was old and well advanced in years. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The first one was Eliab, the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest, and the 3 oldest followed Saul. But David, anong ginagawa? Went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Basahin ko po sa Tagalog. Si David ay anak ni Jesse na isang Ephratita mula sa Bethlehem, Juda. Nang panahon iyon, si Jesse ay mahina na dahil sa katandaan. 8 anak niyang lalaki, si David ang pinakabata. Sina Eliab, Abinadab at Sama, ang 3 pinakamatatanda niyang anak, ay kasama ni Saul sa labanan. Habang sila'y kasama ni Saul, ang punto namang si David ay pabalik-balik kay Saul at nag-Bethlehem para alagaan ang mga tupa ng kanyang ama. Bigyan ko po kayo ng background. 8 po ang anak ni Jesse. Naalala po niyo 1 Samuel 16, ano? Sa 8 anak na lalaki, ay 8 anak na lalaki, panganay si Eliab, pangalawa si Abinadab, pangatlo po ay si Shammah. May 2 pa po silang kapatid na babae. So 10 lahat. Sa 8 anak na lalaki, bunso si David. Okay po? Naalala niyo po, during this time, ang hari po ay si Saul or King Saul. There was one time in his life, he disobeyed God. He lied to God. Nagsinungaling po siya. So what God did was to take away His presence from Saul. Tinanggal po yung pagkakari. Tinawag po ang propetang si Samuel. At sabi ko kay Samuel, you go to Bethlehem, to the family of Jesse. I will be anointing one of his sons to be the next king. Kasi nga ako, nagkasala si Saul. Sa pagtitinanong natin, alam mo ng propetang Samuel na may susunod ng hari. Pinili ko, sabi ng Diyos, yung answer sa aking puso. Pagdating po doon, tignan po natin, 8 anak na lalaki. Sabi mo ni Prophet Samuel, maganda kayo, I will be anointing the next king. Sabi, ito yung una, Eliab. Pagdaan po ni Eliab, naalala nyo? Sabi mo ni Samuel, Lord, siguro ito na. Kasi yung pinakagwapo, ito yung panganay. Yung unang 3, mga sundalo, sa mga patriya, di ba? Yung lahat po ng anak ni Jesse, magandang lalaki. Ang description kay David, gwapo din siya. Pero sa 8 mga lalaki, siya yung pinakapangit. So siguro si David, gwapo siya, pagkahilera niya mga pangit. Hindi, gwapo naman siya. Chick boy siya, di ba? Pero wala siya sa panganay, wala siya sa pangalawa, sa pangatlo, siya nga yung pinakapangit eh. Okay. Pagdaan po ni Eliab, sabi ni Samuel, ito na ba Lord? Ano sabi ng Lord? Remember? He is not the one. Ang tao, tumitingin sa panlabas na anyo. Ang tinitignan ko, yung puso. Sabi niya, hindi ito. Hindi siya. Yung pangalawa, Abinadab. Pagdaan, ito na siguro Lord. Hindi rin siya. Yung pangatlo, Shammah, hindi rin. Pang-4, pang-5, pang-6, pang-7, tapos. Sabi ng si Samuel, wala sa 7. Mayroon sino bang anak na lalaki? Ano sabi ni Jesse? Ay, oo nga pala. May panggolo pala. Sabi no, buti malimutan. Kaya lang nandun lang siya eh. Nag-aalaga ng mga tupa. Kasi po, ang pinakamababang uli mo ng trabaho, magiging pastor during that time. If you are a shepherd, you're not allowed to go to the temple. Before you go to the temple, you have to be cleansed first. Okay? Dapat dumaan ka ng purification kasi marumi ka. Okay? Ang style ko noon, kung ikaw ang tatay, ititrain mo yung panganay mong anak, kung lalaki, pastor. Pag lumaki na siya, may pangalawang anak eh. Mapopromote yung panganay. Ang pastor lang yung pangalawa. So yung panganay, hindi na pastor. Pag lumaki na ulit yung pangalawa, may pangatlo, di ba? So, ititrain lang yung maging pastor, yung pangatlo, mapopromote na yung pangalawa. Naintindihan mo natin? So you go down the line. Ang bunso sa lalaki sino? David. Ang problema, wala nang susunod. So he is thought to be the shepherd. Kasama ng pamabaho ng mga tanga, ang tigas na ulo ng mga tupa. Yan po yung pastor. So, kung sinabi mo ni Samuel, wala na ba? Meron na pala. Kaya, andun eh. Nag-aalaga ng pastor, parang you don't have to look at him, it's nothing. Parang ganun mo siya. Grabe mo yung tatay, no? Sabi yun ang propeta Samuel. Hindi tayo mag-deliver, hindi tayo matatakot hanggat hindi siya tawagin at naghin. To make a long story short, pagdating mo ni David, rugged, handsome boy. Siguro marunong pa yan. Inanoy. Sabi ko, Diyos, yung hindi mo inaasahan, yun ang gagawin mo dito. Hindi dito eh. Hindi yung panlabas na Diyos. Lagi tinitignan ng Lord yung puso. Lagi ko sinasabi, hindi lahat na magaling kumanta. Worship leaders. Mayabang natin din magaling kumanta. Hindi lahat na magaling tumugtog, may anointing pagtugtog. Yung mabababa. Those people who are broken. Those people who are all out for their God. Yun po yung ina-anoint ng Panginoon eh. So pagkakalawa natin, let's just look simply at the shepherd. Tignan po natin. Sabi dito, great men such as Abraham, Moses, and King David were shepherds. Sila ho, pag tinignan nyo, those are great men of God. Yan mga pastor. Kasi training ng Lord, mag-alaga ka ng tupa. Matututo kang mag-alaga ng tupa ng Diyos. Okay? Pagdating po sa Psalm 78, 70 to 72, maganda ho lang sinabi, He chose David, his servant, and took him from the sheep pen. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be the shepherd of his people, Jacob, and his Israel, his inheritance. 72. And David, sabi po dito, shepherded them with integrity of heart, with skillful hands, he led them. That's why he is called the greatest king of Israel. Tingnan lang po natin. A little background on the shepherd. Shepherds in ancient Israel likely worked with, among others, yung patiho ng tupa, the broad-tailed Syrian variety of sheep, which have large fatty tails and a thick fleece. Okay? Ito daw po yung mga uri na yung mga tinatawag po nilang ram, may mga sungay na tupa. Pero yung mga youth, mga babae ho, walang sungay. Kapag pastor mo na nag-aalaga mo ng tupa noon, nag-aalaga din po yun ng kambing. Kaya yung Bible, the sheep and the goats, ito yung Bible eh. At ang magaling mo sa mga pastor, lahat po ng mga tupa may pangalan. Diba? Pangalanan natin. Roland. Ako rin ito ba, Jay, mga pastor eh, no? Lagyan natin Butch. So may mga pangalan mo yan. And alam mo, people ng pastor, kasi kung if you're not a shepherd, you look at them, they just look all the same. Diba? Lahat po sila, pare-pareho lang ba yan? Pero yung mga pastor, kilala. Kaya alam niyo yung song na, no? He knows my name. Diba? He knows my every thought. Is she that falls and hears me when I call? He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He knows each tear that falls and hears me when I call. That's God, because He's the great and the good shepherd. Tuloy po natin. May mga seasons din po yung mga shepherd. Tingnan lang po natin yung routine po ng buhay ng isang pastor. Springtime. Ito po yung kalamang sagana mo sa damo. During the season, sabi ko, dinadala mo ng pastor yung lahat ng tupa doon sa parang at dami yung damo. And during the season, the birth of lambs and kids will expand the size of the flock. Diyan nanganganak yung mga tupa. And at that time, workers will also shear the winter fleece from the sheep. Tatanggalin po nila, if we have a picture, tatanggalin po yung balahibo, and this is an occasion to celebrate. Yan po yung during springtime. Okay? Kaya minsan, during that time, dumadami po yung tupa, hindi na po kaya ng pastor, mag-hire po yun ng shepherd. Naalala niyo sa Bible, sabi ko ng Panginoon, ang iba sa inyo, hireling lang, mga bayaran. Hindi kayo totoong pastor. Yun yung pinagkukunan po nun. Dumadami yung tupa, nag-hire po sila ng shepherd. Okay, now, during summer, sobrang init. The shepherds move their flocks to cooler pastures on higher ground. Okay? Hindi ho kaya minsan ang tupa yung init, hahanap po yan ng bundok yung pastor. Dadali niya po yung lahat ng tupa doon. Sabi ko dito, pakinggan po ninyo. For days on end, shepherds would work and sleep outdoors, allowing the flock to graze in the steep, green slopes and spending the night guarding the open sheepfold. Dahil sobrang init, sa gabi po, hindi ikinukulong. Nandun na ho sila sa gilid ng mundo, kakain, para ho malamigan, kasama ho ng pastor sa labas ho natutulog. At at time, sabi ko dito, pag mayroon ho silang nakitang cave o mga kuweba, doon po nila matutulogin. At sabi ho, minsan, magkakaroon po ng mga hyenas, leon. Pag nakalap na po yung mga tupa, mag-iingay po sila. Ang gagawin po ng pastor, magsasalita. Pag nandito po ng tupa, yung boses ng pastor, napapayapa po sila. Grabe mo, no? When we hear the voice of God, because He is our great good shepherd, God gives peace which passes all understanding. Because we know the voice of God. Sabi po, during summer, each evening, the shepherd counted the sheep, binibilang pa ho, and checked the health of the animals. Bago ko po ituloy, ako po I finished medical technology as a pre-med. I wanted to become a doctor. I took up medtech. Kaya alam ko the Lord told me to be a pastor. So, I'm so blessed. I'm called to be a life coach and a pastor. I'm one kind of a person na wala mong amor sa pets. Okay? Sino may mga pets po dito? Ang mga pets ko, crocodile, ganyan, wala po ako talagang hilig sa alaga. Sa akin po, meron akong 2 pets, yung asawa ko at anak ko. Ilalaga ako, talagang mahilig. So, ano po, Brother Bush would always say, Ma'am, kailangan may alaga ka, aso o pusa. But Bush, ang hilig ko sa pusa. Kasi, nakapag-comparative anatomy ako para sa medicine. Ang tingin ko ay masarap i-dissect yan. At aramin yung mga internal organs, ang mga muscles na, at lahat ng blood vessels, yan ang gusto mo tayo sa life yan. Sabi niya recently, Mom, you have to have a pet for hand. Because later on, you will regret. Kasi wala siyang kapatid, isa lang po talaga yung aming plano. Sana yun lang pinuplano ng Lord. So anyway, to make a long story short, binigyan po kami ng pusa, Persian cat. And sabi ko, sige, tignan natin kung ano magagawa sa pusa. Kapangalanan ko yan. Alam ko na kung anong pangalan. Ang pangalan niya, Specimen. Specimen. Ang ganda pangalan, Specimen. Dinala ko sa bahay. Unang araw ko ng pusa. kuting kasi siya. Nanganak po yung alaga nila brother po. Sa kanila po galing eh. Ani, binigay sa atin ng isa. Pinagbili lang bigay. Sige, kunin ko. Diba lang ang yan. Siya lagi responsible. Siya pakain, etc. Una pa ko nagtawag doon po. Ayaw mag-friend. To make a long story short, alam niyo po, nakakatuwa pa na ang pusa. Talagang, so ayos ah. Si Coach Roland, mahilig po yun sa hayop, makahayop po siya. Magbilig na ako, magbilig si Roland, sabi nga naman magbilig, kailangan ka, kailangan pusa, kailangan ibon, lahat kailangan, may gaga pa yan, so ano, kailangan ipis din siya. Hindi mo alam. Anyway, pinangalanan po namin yung aming pusa na Katniss. O, di ba? Parang lagi siya may Hunger Games. Katniss, para your highness, your Katniss. Kasi yun yung pinangalanan po namin, nakakawala. Sabi no, nasira mo na. Nakakatawa pala yung pusa. Lagi mo yan, ano siya, nung unang araw niya, unang dalawa, pupo, punta ng siya. Ako marunong, alam niya siya siya magpupo. Eh may litter box po siya, binigyan ng litter box, may mga kapapangin niya. Tapos, nagpupo sa siya, eh kung sana kung tumutungtong sa toilet bowl. Hindi na pala, nasa sa egg, nagpito ka. Sige! Dito pupo, etc. Alam niyo, nalipat na po yung ilang linggo, no? Umaakit po yun sa kama. Nagigising na lang po kami ni Sam. Nasa gitna na namin. At sinadalong ganyan yung ulo niya sa gitna namin. Hindi ko maintindihan, sinabas ng gabi. Pag mag-living ko, pwede sila ginihan. Sabi ko, may busong kapatid na gihan. At pwede sila ginihan. Kasi lagi, sabi sa mga 2 in the morning na that. Mga 2 in the morning, go down. Sabi mo, nakakatuwa. Alam niyo, habang tinitignan ko po, gusto po niya yung pinapakain ko niya, di ba? Ikaw ang mga lagang pusa dito. Ayan. Kasi ang naintindihan ko po, pag akong kalye, askal. So pag pusang kalye, pusakal. Pusakal. Siya hindi siya pusakal. Hindi siya pusakal. So cute siya. Tuwing umaga, bago sa naman sa Bible, aaral, nasa paanan ko siya. Sabi ko na worship din ko siya. Gusto ko sana yung pangalan ng Diyos. Kasi where I go, he goes, as she goes, babae siya. Tapos lagi nasa paanan ko. Parang hindi ko doon sa naiintindihan, yung Proverbs 12, sabi na sa Proverbs 12, the righteous man takes care of his animal. Sabi even in the Bible, yung mga magpapit na tao, tanongin ko yung hayop ko inaalagaan na tama. You two shepherds. Naintindihan mo natin? Ang shepherd, alam niyo yung pangalan. Pag tinawag mo ng shepherd yung tuba, alam mo lang tuba. Yun mo tayo, Standing over like what? Lost sheep of God, and God knows our name. Tuloy lang po natin. Mabilisan. In the morning, pag umaga po, he would call and the flock would follow him to the pasture ground. Pag tanghali, the shepherd then yanos the cool pools of water to drink. Dinadala niya ho dun saan pwedeng uminom. When the pools dried up, the shepherd guided them to a well and drew water for them. Nagpapainom yung mismong pastor. Pag tagulan, during cold rain, he would lead them back home to winter indoors kasi yung malamig. So ipapasok po yan sa kuweba at dinadantay po, isa lang yung gate na daanan po ng pastor. Tingnan po natin ang isang pastor. We have a picture. The shepherd's clothing, sabi mo dito, was simple but robust to protect him from rain and the frigid night air. He may have worn a mantle made of sheepskin. Galapin mo ng tupa yung limit niya, with the sleeves turned inward. Yung nasa loob yung balahibo. Against the skin, you wore a tunic. Yung sandalias niya po, protected his feet from sharp rocks and thorns, and he wrapped his head in a woolen cloth. The shepherd's equipment, ito po yung mga gamit ng pastor, usually included the following: a scrip or leather bag that contains food supplies such as bread, olives, dried fruit, and cheese. Grabe po yung pagkain ng pastor, no? Healthy. Meron siyang rod, which is a formidable weapon, usually 3 feet yung haba, long with sharp stick embedded in a bulbous end. Meron siyang knife, meron po siyang staff, which the shepherd leaned on while walking and climbing, parang tungkol niya. A personal water container, a collapsible leather bucket for drawing water from deep wells. Meron din po siyang sleeve, okay, which he used to lob stones in the straying sheep or goats to frighten them back to the flock or to drive off prowling wild animals. Meron din po siyang reed pipe, which he played to entertain himself and to soothe the flock. Grabe ho. Gumaling siyang musician, si David White, pag gusto niya hong payapain, yun hong mga tupa, tutugtog siya. Would you imagine David, habang nag-aalaga po, nakakain na, nakalimutan na, he would write poems and make them into songs. That's why he's a great musician. So good shepherds were diligent, dependable, and brave, and they even risked their lives to protect the flock. So when you look at David, bakit po siya ginawang hari ng Diyos? He wasn't likely to be the king. Why? One, David had an undistinguished family tree. Tingnan niyo po, yung kanyang lola, hindi ho talagang puro Hudyo, si Ruth, isang babae. Yung kanyang isang pinulo na babae, prostitute. Rahab. Sabi, no? Pag tinignan niyo yung kanyang pinagaling na lalaki, malabo ito Yan ang naging hari. Pangalawa, sabi ho, he was in the wrong place in the birth order. Naalala niyo, may panganay, pangalawa, pangatlo, pangwalo siya. Hindi siya pwedeng maging hari. Pangatlo, he already had a job. He was a shepherd. How would David become the next king? Yun po siya, marunong mag-alaga ng tuba. Marunong mag-alaga ng bansa. Kung may malagkapit sa isang tuwa na tatanga-tanga, paano kaya sa tao? May malagkapit siya. Sabi yun, no? It takes a village to raise a child. Pinraining po siya ng magulang niya. Pastor ka. Ito ho, dagdag lang, no? Pag-isipin ho niyo si David, si Jesse po yung tatay. Sabi ho yung minsan, nung napoposess po si Saul, kailangan ng musician, ang pinagalaw mo si David. Sabi ho ng tatay, anak, pag punta mo sa hari, magdala ka ng pasalubong. Naintindihan po natin, dala kayo ng mga pagkain para sa hari. Nung alaman po ng mga sundalo si Goliath, sabi ho ni Jesse, anak, kumustahin mo nga yung mga kuya mo, mga sundalo sila. Pag punta mo doon, dala mo pasalubong yung mga kuya mo, pati yung kanilang kapitan. Naintindihan po natin, alam mo yung tatay, giver. Sabi po natin, Romanian word for children, copy. Kapag ang magulang po, hindi marunong magbigay, at hindi po generous, tingnan niyo ang anak. Kasi mabuwa kayo. Pag nakikita po ng anak sa magulang, giver yung kanyang mga magulang, yung mga anak, marunong yung nanay ko at tatay ko magbigay sa mga nangangailangan at mag-abot ng tulong sa nangangailangan. It takes a village to raise a child. The story of David is a story of right thinking. It's a story which challenges us to look beyond outward appearances of a person's heart and character. God saw something in David that no one else had seen. I'll be showing to you some pictures. This is thinking outside the box. Tingnan natin. Let's look at the first one. Tingnan niyo po. Akala niyo ba? Madaling manalo ng TikTok to? Madaling paraan manalo ng TikTok to. You think outside the box. Kaya mo ang paraan manalo. Next picture. Alam mong game yan? Tetris, di ba? Ano yun? Break game, di ba? Nakalagay po, cross, meaning game over, sabi nga, it is finished. Alam mo picture? This is what we call perspective. That's an iPhone. At ang nandun po na picture ay tubig. Nilagyan po nila ng wafer, nilagyan ng maliliit na manika. Anong itsura? Swimming pool. No? Sabi niyo ito, swimming pool. This is an iPhone. Alam mo picture? Sabi ko dyan, love your neighbor as yourself. Tingnan mo yung pulubi, naglagay na sa sabihin. So, pagtingin ko na magdali mo, sabay ka ako yan. I love your neighbor as yourself. Hindi malaki ibibigay niya. Di ba? Next picture. This is David Goliath. You know, sure you can. Of course you can. And the last one, sabi ko, this is David's secret weapon. Ano yung kanyang secret weapon? Tignan nyo. Ano po? Si Angry Bird. Kaya ako pala sa nanalo di ba? Ang kanyang secret weapon, galit na ibon. These are some, kumbaga, outside the box thinking. I'll be showing to you a video. Ang pamagat po niya, magsilang po ito ay Guardian. Nagkaroon po siya ng award just to show some point of view. If you're ready, please show Guardian. Let's just watch this.
An event, seen from one point of view, gives one impression. Seen from another point of view, it gives quite a different impression. But it's only when you get the whole picture you can fully understand what's going on.
Thank you. Galing ko, no? Perspective. Parang kung ano, no? Yung una eksena, tumatakbo siya. Ang kaya tumatakbo, may hahabulin. Pangalawang eksena, ito ang kala niyo. Snatcher siya. Diba yung magnanakaw. But when you see the big picture, the real story is, mababagsakan po yung mama, and he was trying to save the man. Yun po yung kwento ni David. Pastor siya ng tupa. Hindi prepare ng Lord. Why? Kasi magiging pastor po siya ng isang buong bansa. Sabi mo dito, when Goliath came against the Israelites, sabi mo ng mga sundalo, he's so big, we can never kill him. Nung nakita ko ng mga sundalo si Goliath, ang laki niya, hindi natin kaya patayin. Nung si David po ang tumingin, at the same giant, sabi niya, he's so big, I cannot miss. Ibang-ibig, no? Yung mga sundalo takot. Si David, hindi. Siguradong asitag to. Ang laki niya. Kuha-kuha. It's a matter of perspective. Sabi ko ni Helen Robinson, in any situation, what you are determines what you see. And what you see determines what you do. Pag-isipan po natin yan. What you are determines what you see. What you see determines what you do. Sabi din po, the decisions we make have a direct impact on our destination. God looks at character, not appearance. God does not see as we do, but God looks right through our facade and our pretense to see our heart. At titignan ng Lord, tatapos po yan sa puso. Parang ganito lang po yan Punta ka on the church on a Sunday, you can be singing and not really worshiping, just enjoying the music and not really coming humble before God. Hindi mo pwedeng nakangiti, tignan niyo po yung katabi niyo. Nakangiti ba? Nakangiti naman. Nakangiti ako na namin email. Gisi. Ibang nakangiti. Pero sa loob niya, that person is going through something and only God knows, maybe. You know, God sees through. Meron po isang kanta yung papuri dati. Kinakanta po natin yan. Salamat Panginoon, kilala mo ako. Ang lahat ng bagay ay ibibigin sa'yo. Salamat Panginoon. yun namin, pinag-usapan namin. Grabe yung kanta, no? Kung tama yung puso mo, salamat Panginoon, kilala mo ko, mali po sila, kilala niyo po ko. Ang problema, kung may problema ka sa puso, patay kang bata ka. Kilala mo ko, Lord, at wala akong makinagago sa iyo. Di ba? Parang ito po yan. Sabi na dito, God doesn't see as we see, but God looks right through our facade and our pretense to see our heart. It would either inspire or frighten us. It should inspire, kilala ako ng Lord. Inspires when we feel that we are judged by others according to our abilities or appearance, to remember that it's what's on the inside of account. Alam naman ng Lord, mali sila. Wala ang problema. But it should frighten those of us who have survived by pretense. Ang tagal mo nang nakukulari. Sakin-sakin pa ka, pero manluloko ka. Paglaban sa church. Diba? Padasal-pasal ka, pero sa totoo lang sinungaling ka. At nanluloko ka ng tao. Matakot ka. Dahil kilala ka nito. Kasi pa ka nangangaroon niya ka eh. Kasi pa ka nangungopya ka sa eskwelahan. Kasi pa ka nagdaraya ka. It should frighten those of us who have survived by prison when we know that what's on the inside does not match what we claim to be. Matakot ka. Let's go to point number 2. Naiksi na lang po ito. Okay po kayo? Sila lang, okay? Naiksi na lang po. The first one is the villager. He was a shepherd. The second one is the fighter. Babasahin po siya sa Tagalog. 33, sinabi ni Saul, hindi mo kaya ang Filisteyong yun. Si Goliath po, batang-bata ka pa. Samantalang siya isang mahusay na madirigma mula pa sa kanyang kabataan. Ngunit sinabi ni David kay Saul, ako po ang nag-aalaga sa mga kawan ng aking ama. Kapag ang isa sa mga tupang inaalagaan ko ay tinatangay ng leyon o oso, anong ginagawa ni David? Hinahabol ko ito, balik na no? Siya yung humahabol sa leyon at sa oso. At inahabol ko yung tupa. Kapag hinarap ako ng leyon, walang oso, anong ginagawa niya? Hinahawakan ko ito sa panga. Ganun po katapang si David. At pinapatay. Kaya ganyan po. Nakapatay na po ako ng mga leyon at mga oso. Hindi lang isang leyon. Hindi lang isang bear. Sabi nito, isasama ko po sa mga ito ang Filisteo iyon. Sapagkat ang nilalait ay ang hukbo ng Diyos na buhay. At itinugtong pa ni David, iniligtas ako ni Yahweh mula sa mga bababangis na leyon at mga oso. Iniligtas din niya ako sa kamay ng Filisteo iyon. Galing po, no? Ang training po niya, bakit po siya general and warrior? Ang pinapatay niya lang naman ngayon, at also, hyena, lahat po yan. Kapag nakita niya kay Goliath, ay wala yan. Wala yan sa mga leyon at also pinapatay ko. It takes a village to raise a child. Discounting background lang po, David as a slinger, marksman, magaling po siya sa tirador. Ang tirador po natin, yung di ba po white, ang tirador po nila iba. The Hebrew word for sling is kelam. Excuse me, we have a picture. Two strings attached to a leather center, the hollow receptacle of the stone composed it. Okay? So, yung susunod na picture, may ibang picture. Sabi mo dito, it was swung around the head, and then, sabi mo dito, one string was let go, and the stone hurled out. Okay? So, ayan po yung lever, may dalawang tali, magkabila. Doon po sa lever nilalagay yung bato. Kapag gagamitin po yan ng pastol, bibitawan po yung isang string. Bigyan ko po kayo ng background, ano? During that time, yung pong magagaling sa slave o sa tirador, yung pong tribo ng Benjamin. Ang sabi po sa Biblia, there were 700 Benjamites who were marksmen when it comes to slave. 700 po na kaliwete ng mga Benjamites, galing po sa tribo ng Benjamin, na kapag inihagin po nila yung bato, Gahig lang po ng buhok, kaya mong tirahin. Sila ho yung magaling dyan. Ang sabi ko, during that time, si David would always parang somehow fellowship. Makikipagkakaroon po siya ng communication with the Benjamites. Tinuruan po siyang gumamit ng sling. Kasi po, yun din po yung weapon ng isang pastor. During that time, ang pastor po, hindi po nila ginagamit yung pong sling para po tirahin yung tupa. Kapag may isang tupa ho na lalabas doon sa swak, kailangan pong bumalik sa swak. Ang gagawin mo ng pastor, titirahin po na kailangan mag-mintis doon sa tupa, pero ang tendency, babalik sa swak. Naintindihan po natin? So, dapat magaling ka sa sling sa pag-mintis. Kailangan mo nun ng ability. Yun po si David. Kaya nung nakita ko niya, ito po, dahil lang mo ito, no? Nakita niyo po si David, walang problema to, nakalaki nga nito eh. Naalala niyo po, kumuha po siya ng 5 smooth stones. Ang tanong, bakit 5 bato? Ibig sabihin, pag namintis na yung una, may pangalawa pa siyang bato, may pangatlo, may pang-apat, hindi po. Ito po yun. During that time, si Goliath, mayroon po 4 na kapatid na higante. Grabe, no? Lahat po ng pangalan is written in the Bible. Pagkawali po, ang nakapatay ng 4, mga sundalo lang po ni David. Yun yung 4 na higante. So during that time, when David got 5 smooth stones, he was not only preparing for 1 giant, he was preparing for 5 Goliaths. Grabe yun, no? Hindi siya naghahanda sa isa. Ang utak niya, pag napatay ko ito, gagantihan ako ng 4 na kapatid dito puro higante. So handa po siya, 5 bato. Kasi asintado siya. Yun po ang buhay. Pinaghahandaan. Naalala niyo po, Brother Butch always say, pag may homework daw po ang teacher niya, lalampasan niya po yung homework. Advanced aral mo siya. Kaya mo yung mga professors na sa Bible po, takot sa kanya. Ito yung homework, ito yung lesson, naaral niya na ho, tatlo pa lampas na. We have to prepare our young people. Maganda po yung inyong programa, nakakatuwa. Young people learning to cook, siguro young people learning to understand yung nutrition sa mga pagkain. Sabi ko nga ako, last week I was talking, I'm handling the women's ministry po in Crossroads. Napansin ko yung mga kababaihan, parang walang wellness movement ng bread, Mga kapatid, sabi ko, pag hindi pa tayo nag-ayos ng katawan, tatanggalin ko yung mga workers kayo. Hindi. Sabi ko, naalala ko, magkausap po kami magkausap po namin si Brother Butch, one day ago, no? Sabi ko, Brother Butch, di po ba, you intend to live up to 100 years? Sabi niya, no ma, 120 years. Okay ko yun Sabi niya, huwag gusto ng Lord. Baka bukas magundul ako hindi pa tayo din. Oo nga yun ba? Pero meaning, he was thinking about the future. Kasi, ito pa yung Pilipinas We still need to raise our children. Ito sinasabi ko lagi, mga kabataan, hindi niyo priority ang working their men. Kung kayo estudyante. Sinasabi ko rin po lagi sa aking anak, okay lang anak yung crush. Pero mag-ingat ka, baka makrush ka dyan. Ang priority makapagtapos, makapag-master, makapag-PhD. Talin lamang po ako sa inyo, no? Naktawa ko lang po yung iba. I would like to tell you a story. Ganda mo ito, magkapatid po na Koreana. Marami na hong mahilig sa K-pop. Ang pangalan po ay si Jane Kim Hall. At isa po ay si Dr. Soo Kim Aba. Okay? Si Dr. Soo Kim yung nasa kanan, bali nasa kaliwa po ninyo. Okay? Pero po nilang sinulat na libro, Top of the Class. Okay? Sabi po dito sa libro, nurture, not nature, is often the key to success for Asian students. Bigyan po kayo ng background. Yung pong libro po nila, Top of the Class is unique because it promotes Asian principles such as discipline and delayed gratification while still promoting very American values such as emotional development, creativity, and independence. Learn how to get best of both worlds. Sinulat po nila, mga American citizens po sila. Bigyan ko po kayo ng background. Si Dr. Sue Kim Abel is an associate professor in the Department of Otolaryngology, the head and neck surgery of the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, and she is also the chief of the division of ENT at Pennsylvania Presbyterian Hospital. Dr. Abel received her medical degree from Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. She also received her undergraduate degree from the Johns Hopkins University. She is married with 2 young children in whom she has the pleasure of practicing what she preaches. The other one, kapatid po niya, is a lawyer. She manages the Office of Immigration and Visa Services at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. She received her law degree from Temple University School of Law and received her undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She is an avid writer and is a columnist for Parentheus.com. Jane is married to an educator and recently had her first child. Dahil nito po, doon po sa forward ng libro, top of the class, sabi ho nila, Asian students are considered among the best and the brightest in America. Grabe ho, no? Yung daw pong Asian Americans make up only 4% ng buong U.S. population. But the Asian American students make up much higher percentage of students doon sa lahat ng top universities sa buong Amerika. Kahit maliit na yung populasyon. Mabilisan lang po. Among Ivy League schools, sabi dito, the percentages are astounding. 23% nag-aaral po sa University of Pennsylvania, 25% sa Columbia and Cornell, 15% at Brown, and 18% nasa Harvard University. Asian Americans make up 24% of the student population at Stanford, 15% at Johns Hopkins, 17% at Northwestern, and a whopping 42% at the University of California at Berkeley, UC Berkeley, despite making up only 11% of the population in California. In addition, 49% of Asian Pacific Islanders were the age of 25 hold a bachelor's degree or higher, while the corresponding rate for all adults in the age group is much lower, 27%. 60% of Asian and Pacific Islanders over the age of 25 hold on advanced degrees. That is Master's, PhD, MD, or JD. In contrast, to 9% for all other adults in this age group. A starting 15% of all U.S. physicians and surgeons are of Asian descent. Grabe, no? Karamihan ng mga surgeons doon, physicians, Asian. Statistics made available from the U.S. Census Bureau. Ito pa po. Ang mga malalaking kumikita, Asian Americans also bring some home higher income than their non-Asian counterparts. In 2002, the median income for Asian and Pacific Islanders were $52,018, almost $10,000 higher than the median household income for the rest of the population. What does this number signify? Pakinggan niyo po. Certainly, Asian Americans are no more intelligent than any other race or ethnic group. Hindi naman daw mas matatalino talaga yung mga Asian Americans. Contrary to what the public may believe, ito po, Asian students are no more intellectually gifted than non-Asian students. Hindi mas matatalino. The reason that Asian students outperform their peers in the classroom has nothing to do with how they are born and everything to do with how they are raised. Paano pinalalaki po? Pakinggan po ninyo. Sue is a board-certified surgeon and an assistant professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Jane is an attorney and immigration specialist at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Pakinggan niyo po yung kwento. Ang ganda ho. Sabi ho nila, dun sa libro nilang top of the class, we are first-generation Korean Americans. That is to say, ang mga magulang po nila, si Jay at si Jay Kim, were born in Korea but emigrated to the United States of America. Our parents came to America with their heads full of dreams and a better life, but no money in their pockets. Malaki pangarap, wala lang pera. Although they had stars in their eyes, sabi dito, their early life in America was far from glamorous. Pakinggan niyo po. Paglipat po ng Amerika, yung tatay, tumira po sa isang apartment, one-bedroom apartment sa University of Southern California campus, kung saan yung tatay po nila nag-master's degree sa computer science. Okay? Habang nag-aaral po yung tatay, ang nagtrabaho yung nanay. Ano pong trabaho? Mananahi. Our mother went to work as a seamstress. She worked 12 to 14 hours days for less than minimum wage with a dozen other immigrant women who were trying to help their husbands and families financially. Grabe po no yung, sige, asawa niya, mag-aral ka. Ako muna yung magtatrabaho. Habang mananahi po yung misis, nag-aaral po, nagmamasters yung misis. Pagdating po ng bahay, diretso po yung tatay, nagtatrabaho sa gabi. Ano pong trabaho po ni Jay? Ang trabaho niya, janitor and gas station attendant. Sabi ko niya na nag-aaral siya, ang hirap mag-aaral. Kasi maghapon natin para lang ka sa hapon, sa gabi, janitor ka, tapos gasoline boy. Mabuti na lang, natapos ko yung 2 taon na nag-masters. Noon nakapagtapos po siya, doon ipinanganak yung 2 po nilang anak. Dumating po yung panahon, nakapagtrabaho po yung tatay. Computer science, master's degree. Nagbabiyahe na po sila, nagdesisyon na po yung nanay, ito ng mananahin. Kasi palalakihin, aalagaan na po yung 2 anak. Ito po yung sabi ng mga anak. Ganda po dito. Sabi nila, our parents were never able to provide us with designer clothing or trips to the Caribbean. But we were never lacking for love or attention. Yung damit namin, hindi signature clothing. Not once during our childhood did we ever doubt that our happiness, education, and future were our parents' top priorities. Anak, hindi yung mga usong damit. Hindi yung magagandang signature na damit ang priority. Aral, aral, aral. Pakinggan niyo po, si Sue, magaling po siya sa math. At lagi po siya nakaka-straight A. Pag may mga math competition, siya po lagi nananalo. So sabi niya, ang ginagawa ko, she attended math camp in the summer instead of partying at the beach with friends. Hindi natin priority yung parties. O magpunta sa beaches pag summer. Ang priority mo, math camp ka. Kasi talent mo yan eh. Magaling ka sa math. Tuloy po natin. Jane was a bit more social and outgoing. Nevertheless, sabi dito, her main goal in school was to get good grades rather than be wearing the latest fashion. Sound boring? Sabi, or even painful? Sabi na, no. We are now successful career women who are fulfilled both professionally and personally. We have wonderful relationships with our parents and each other. Sila magkapatid, okay din. And have only the fondest memories of our childhood. Growing up, we noticed, karamihan lang Asian Americans sa kabatch po nila, ganun din po yung karanasan. Daan muna tayo sa hirap na yun, anak. Kailangan makapagtapos. Sabi, if you were wondering whether we were always at the top of our class, the answer is no. Kaya inilalaban po nila. Ito po yung dulo. Sabi ko dito, like 30 years later, we still smile. Tapos sabi ko nilang marinig yung magulang, nagyayabang daw sa mga kaibigan. Sabihin daw po ng magulang nila, 1 doctor and 1 lawyer in the family, who could ask for anything more? Panalo na eh. Now, signature clothing, kaya na ba? Doktor na eh. Abogado na. Beach parties, kaya na? kaya na. Dumaan sa hirap. Hindi yung priority ngayon yung signature clothing. Yung nakauso ka, fashionista ka, eh bagsak-bagsak naman yung grade mo eh. Mag-aral kang maigi. Kasi para sa iyo yan. Kami, ito na eh, magulang na eh. Para yun sa inyo. Okay, pag-umaga. It takes a village to raise a child. Kaya kung tayo, sa awa ko siguro ng Panginoon, may mga programa. I thank God, I am impressed. Hindi ko alam kung wala po ako sa Presbyterian Church. I don't know. May iba rin silang programa. I thank God na meron po tayo ng lupang lahi. Because we think of our future, that in 5 to 10 years' time, the real problem of the world is food. Sa Pilipinas, ang problema, wala nang lupa. Tinatayo lang ho ng mga buildings, mga bahay, mga condominium. Ang problema ho, wala na ho matataliman. Dahil ng problema, binibili ho ng mga foreigners ng ating mga lupa. Nag-aasawa ng Pilipinas, parang ang bumili ng libo-libong hektarya ng lupa. Yun yung mga, naalala kayo sa yung University of Arizona, sabi niya, nakasabay na po, inirati sa aeroplano. Sabi niya, bakit kayo nagbibenta ng lupa ninyo sa Pilipinas? Kami naman, bili ng bili. Pagdating ng araw, wala nang pagkain, kasi wala nang lupa. Kaya ano? I thank God we have religion, because we're thinking of the education of our young people. Pagka-graduate po ng Meridian, pangarap natin marunong mag-Filipino, magaling mag-English, magaling mag-Mandarin, magaling mag-Spanish. Kung may iba pang probinsya yung nanay, Ilocano, Bisaya, Ilonggo, then namin languages, magaling, mananalo mo yan. Yung sa our religion, marami ng problema sa Meridian. Lumalabas na nga ako, hindi pag lumalaki na. Kaya nilalaban po natin. Salamat sa Panginoon, mayroon din po tayo ang Lali Academy. Salamat din po sa Panginoon, mayroong Bible po, no? And may wellness movement. Hindi ka pakain ng hapon sa anak mo. Puro kansa ng dalaga. Anak, bulay, lolay. We have to teach our children. It takes a village to raise a child. I'll be showing to you a video. One program we have is a junior boot camp, which we have been doing for 3 years now. Ito po ay ginawa po natin ng summer, mga ibang mga bata from different outreaches. May isa pong bata, sumulat po siya. Sabi po niya, Kinilatan niya po kami, junior boot camp is fun but challenging experience. We had to go through many hardships and trials, but we learned a lot about physical exercises and eating healthy food. During the first night, sabi ko ng bata, I already wanted to quit because I always wanted to do things the easy way. But the drill surgeons kept on pushing us to do our very best and never give up. They even asked us to hold our exercise positions until the last minute of the timer, when it already hurt. And also, they made us eat watermelon. Hindi mo kumakain yung bata ng pakwan. So kayo din, no? Kaya nung nakita ko po siya, pinakakain ko ng pakwan. Kasi boot camp na siya, 4 na araw. Kumakain ng pakwan, namili ako. Talaga na yan, kumakain ng pakwan. Sabi nyo dito, it was hard. And then I remember that they were not doing it for themselves, but for us to learn and go through the giants in our lives. My favorite part was the obstacle course. Even though it was hard, I learned something very important. Sabi niya, no pain, no gain. This is a 10-year-old boy. I also learned a very important Bible verse. Train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not forget it. I will certainly not forget what we went through, the boot camp. Let us watch the video, Junior Boot Camp 2013. And then we'll end in a song. Thank you.